Alright, YouTube, the video down below is from a user that I've seen comment around on YouTube. He's called VMU Dream. And, anyways, he posted a clip from the Tucker Carlson Tonight Show, and it's a pretty brief segment. It's about 5 minutes long. I recommend you check it out. It's really amazing because Nancy Pelosi has seems to have stumbled upon a very ingenious way to keep illegal immigrants out, and that is using electronic dogs. And Tucker Carlson provided some stock footage from Boston Dynamics. I'm sure you guys have seen that cool little video with the dog running down the hallway. So I was really entertained by this idea, but I actually have to see this as a positive thing because now what we're seeing from the Democrats, and actually Steny Hoyer was the House Majority Whip, was actually talking about this earlier on today, that he would support a border wall. Nancy Pelosi is starting to get into pro-wall mode. She's starting to entertain ideas of improving border security. Now, I know this isn't her talking about, well, let's build the wall, but Trump has him in such a undesirable position with majority, or rather with Republican control of the Senate. Everything that the House is proposing on the Democratic side is just getting absolutely shot down by Mitch McConnell and the rest of the Senate. So they need to give Trump part of his wall, if not just part of it. So they seem to be understanding this now. Like I said, I'm very encouraged by Steny Hoyer's rhetoric, and Nancy Pelosi. I mean, she's always great comic relief, and she's probably the best thing that could have happened to the Republicans as well here in 2019 and for the coming years. I mean, I was not upset by any means when the Democrats took the House, because that, obviously means that one of the Democrats is going to become Speaker of the House, and we all know who that was going to be, Nancy Pelosi, because she's got the shekels to basically buy votes and all this stuff, and she's open about it. I mean, she's created a culture where she rewards people based on political favors. So she certainly has that method down. And that was how she's able to strong arm her way into Speaker of the House. And this lady can't even put two sentences together. I mean, she is like either drunk all the time, or stoned all the time, or on something. She's got Alzheimer's. I mean, she's just not a very coherent individual. So it's not necessarily a bad thing for the Republicans to have Democrats controlling the House, because all of the major things go through the Senate, such as justice confirmations. And with all the rumors of RBG possibly, she's probably kicked the bucket. I mean, let's not kid ourselves. They're going to be coming up with a replacement for her. It may be Amy Coney Barrett. And I've heard some other names as well, but she seems to be the most popular one. In fact, she was, Amy Coney Barrett, that is, was preferred over Brett Kavanaugh simply because of Kavanaugh's ties to the Bush administration, to the Patriot Act, and possible Skull and Bones member. We don't know. I mean, he came out of I think he came out of Yale, I believe. Anyways, I may have that wrong. Anyways, I think that the Democrats are going to continue this trend, like I mentioned the other day, or rather yesterday, with Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, with her far-left rhetoric. She really is going to drive not just some of those union working-class Democrats more towards the Republican Party and Trump, but she's also going to be driving a lot of the establishment Democrats towards Trump as well. Especially when it comes to the wall, because the wall seems to be universally favored. It's just a matter of how we're going to pay for it and how we go about it. And nobody's really buying the racist wall concept anymore. They look around the world. You would have to call Israel racist. You'd have to call Hungary racist. You'd have to call Jordan racist. You'd have to call I mean, there's just so many. You have to call China racist. It just doesn't work. It's not a feasible excuse there. So you have to kind of drop that bullshit, that line of bullshit, and say, like, people do want border security. This is obviously very important. So Steny Hoyer realizes this. Nancy Pelosi realizes this. And in closing, too, I think that what Trump really needs to really hammer now that he has them in the position of at least entertaining ideas of how to go about improving border security and the rest of that, he needs to start pointing out where we spend money elsewhere. So the military budget, foreign aid, he needs to start saying, look, we give all this money to all these other countries, and we are continuously spending billions and billions of dollars every year in foreign theaters where we don't belong. Why not reallocate some of that money back to the wall? And that's what a lot of Democrats here in Santa Cruz say. They say, look, Trump is pulling out of Syria. That's great. We don't like war. Let's go ahead and reallocate some of those funds back to the wall, you know? And a lot of them were getting upset because their speculation was that he was taking money from the campfire relief fund and proposing that he use that for the wall. I don't think he's going to do that. I think he's just trying to, he's a negotiator. He's trying to scare them a little bit and to kind of, maybe trying to wake them up a little bit. And one thing I wanted to mention as well, and I'll end it after this. I forgot to mention in my previous video, for my analysis of President Trump's address regarding immigration and the wall, I forgot to mention Ron Paul actually pointed out something. Dr. Ron Paul actually pointed out something very, very astutely. He said, the wall, he has his own problems with it because of eminent domain, and they're already trying to work around that. They're trying to buy some land up, which is awesome. I think that's a good way to go about it rather than eminent domain. I'm not a big fan of that either. But Ron Paul was saying, let's lessen the incentives for immigrants to come here in the first place. So we basically incentivize illegal immigrants to come over because a lot of these states and the federal government is also guilty of this as well through DACA and the Dreamers. They are basically taken care of from cradle to grave. So Ron Paul is absolutely correct. We need to get rid of that incentive in order to basically tell the rest of the world and the rest of the illegal immigrants that are trying to get into our country, the United States is not open for business anymore. We are not going to accept massive waves of illegal immigration. And finally, I'll just say that you're never going to completely stop illegal immigration. There's always going to be one hole or one tunnel that you miss. So the best thing you can do is just build the wall, get rid of all these incentives, and you're going to have a very happy and healthy nation. God bless.